Assalamu alaikum. Today we are beginning the online sessions of Al Badr Higher Secondary School because we all know because of the COVID situation, schools are closed. So we have opted for the online sessions. Alhamdulillah, we are beginning it from today. In this session, we'll be dealing with 10 general groups, computers. Subject is computer. In this session, we are starting with our chapter 1, that is history and development of computer. I am your teacher, Ms. Saima Khurram. I would like the students to note either the name of the book or to take the screenshot of it. As you can see it, this is your textbook for the year. But unfortunately, this book content is not enough for your course. So you will also have to buy this book, which is called Computer Science Reference Book. Please take a screenshot, and you are requested to have these two books along with your exercise book and with one rough copy for the upcoming sessions that you will be having. So in this session, we are dealing with the history of computer. Okay, now, so you all are very much familiar with computer. We have computer in every home. In fact, the mobiles also that we are using nowadays, smartphone, that is nothing but a fully functional computer, right? We all are very much familiar with it. But was it like this in the very beginning? Obviously not. Which devices were first created that laid the foundation for the computers that we work on today? We are going to know about them today. Before we begin, first have a look at what actually a computer is. Computer is a machine which can perform many tasks efficiently, accurately, and quickly. It is used to give us efficient and reliable answers. It can process huge amount of data in a very short time. And the most important thing is it does not get bored of repetition. Like if you're going to give a computer the same thing over and over again, a computer is going to give you the answer with the same efficiency and with the same in the same time as the first question was given to it. But if let's say I give you students a question to solve, let's say I give you 5 questions to solve, you are going to do it very nicely. But if let's say the same type of question I'm giving you, for example, I'm giving you 30 questions to solve. After 20, you'll start getting tired, you'll start getting bored, and so bored that you may start giving me wrong answers, right? Because that is human nature. Human get bored. But computer is a device that can do the same work over and over again with the same efficiency, in the same timing, with the same speed, without ever getting bored, right? So we all are familiar with this thing. Now we are to look at in the very beginning when there were no such devices, when there were no calculators, no nothing, no electricity, how it actually began. So obviously, when there was no electricity, something, the electronic device were a thing of far. We cannot even think of an electronic device being made. The first devices that were made were the manual device, right? Like the manual device, you can give example of like abacus, because it is a completely manual device. It has no electricity part, it has no battery in it, it has no gear in it. It is completely manual. What you are going to do only, and not let's say if you are going to move one beat, that is going to correspond the movement of another beat, right? Because that is what the function of a mechanical device is. A manual device It's completely um, manual. It doesn't have any gears, it doesn't have any electrical part, no connection, no wire, nothing. Then after manual, we have mechanical devices. Now mechanical devices, like can you see on the screen this, on which my arrow is hovering, this type of device on which we can see these gears. Now if I move one gear, that is corresponding to move the second gear on the side of it, and that second gear may move the third gear on the side of it. So these kind of devices are mechanical devices, right? Then we have electronic devices. Now, like this computer, it runs either on battery or on a power source. So these are completely electrical devices. So obviously, in the very beginning, we had a manual device, that is abacus. Everyone, I think you must have heard the name of abacus. It is mostly attributed to China, but basically it was being constructed by the Babylonians. Okay, so it is nothing but a number of parallel rods with a wooden frame, and on the parallel rods are beads threaded, and those beads they used to count, and this device aids in counting. And Chinese consider it as their heritage. So even today, they teach their children to use the abacus, though they are now equipped with every sort of electrical device, advanced electrical device, but still they equip their children with the knowledge of using the abacus as well, because they take pride in this heritage of theirs. After the abacus, the Arabics comes with the invention of numerals, the 0 till 9 digits. Before that, there was no invention of the numerals. They used to have their countings on either stones or any random objects that were around them. There were no concept of figure at that time. So you can understand how difficult it would be to give, let's say, if they have to exchange some item, they used to have it counted on stones, such a baggage they have to carry. So with the digits, the calculation became much more easier. After that, John Napier invented the Napier's bone. Now, nowadays also we have this. If you see this device on which my mouse is hovering right now, this is the Napier's bone. It is nothing. These are rods on which numbers are written, and by placing one rod on the side of another, they can get the calculation of multiplication, addition, and huge numbers. They can do that very easily. At that time, he since must have made Napier must have made it on the pieces of bone. That is why he gave it the name of Napier bone. Okay, and this Napier bone later on gives the idea of slide rule. After that comes the Pascaline. Now, Blaise Pascal invented Pascaline in 1642. Now, this is the first mechanical calculating device, right? Because before that, we had abacus, Napier's bone, and slide rule, and these all were completely manual device. Why mechanical? Because can you see these gears? These gears, I told you in the beginning also, the mechanical device may have some sort of gears, like some sort of dial or gear, that if I move one dial, it will correspond, it is going to definitely move the other dial or the other gear, like that. These dials were there, and these are the windows on which the digits were displayed, which shows the result of calculation. Now, Blaise Pascal made this machine for aid in calculation. This device could add and subtract very easily and could obtain up to 8-digit numbers. After that, Leibniz advanced this device, and he also took the function of Pascaline and enhanced it and made a calculating device, which could not only add and subtract but also multiply and divide and also find square roots. Now, after that, Joseph Marie Jacquard, he developed a punch card system for power looms. Now, first of all, I would like to tell you what are punch cards. As you must have uh, got the idea that punch card is a card-like thing on which some holes are punched onto it. Yes, very much like that. It has got tiny holes onto it that used to hold the design for the loom. Now, what is a loom? This picture over here that you are seeing is a loom, and these lines that you are seeing are threads. A loom is a device that interweaves the thread and creates the cloth. And punch card was basically made for those looms, and on those punch card was the design made. That design is then transferred into the interweaving of thread and then comes in the cloth as an intricate designing. Okay. Afterward, this punch card was also used as a storage device in the very first computing devices made. After that, we have the Babbage difference engine. Now, it was made by Charles Babbage. You must have heard the name of Charles Babbage because he is very famously called the father of modern computer. Why is that? Will be told shortly. Now, the difference engine was constructed on the principle of difference of the squares of number. This machine was able to compute the table of numbers like logarithmic tables, sine, cosine tables, which at that time were very difficult to calculate, and so it was given a lot of importance at that time. Now, after the difference engine, in 1833, Charles Babbage thought of making a first programmable machine analytical engine. He thought to make it. He did the paperwork, but he could not actually make the machine. Why? Because at that time the standard of engineering and technology was not that advanced. The things that were utilized, the parts that were utilized, that were required to make that analytical engine were not available at that time. So he only thought of it. He gave the concept of it. He did the paperwork of it. He did not actually create it. But his paperwork later helped the upcoming scientists to create the first computing device. And that is the reason Charles Babbage is famously known as a father of computer. Then the first generation computers are synonymous with very huge computers, very bulky, very big computers, because they were the first generation of computer, the first ever computer that were being made. The first computer that came into existence was Mark 1. Now, in the picture, as you are seeing, you must be wondering that this picture doesn't look like a computer. Yes, obviously, this was the first computer. It didn't have the parts like we have in our computer. And it was so huge that it used to take the entire hall. It is not a general purpose computer that you and I can have it in our homes. No, only big organization or the government organization could have this computer because it was very expensive, it was very huge, and the maintenance was very high. It's not a common person task to maintain this kind of a computer. Very technological person are required to function with this kind of a device. And it also doesn't work like normal computer. It doesn't work in ABCD and the things we write. It requires binary language for it, machine language. And machine language is a series of zeros and one, and it is very difficult to program code in that language. So very specific people who are skilled in that language, only those can work on this kind of computer. After Mark 1, more enhancements were made into the computer world, and then they created ENIAC. ENIAC, the full form of it is Electronic Numerical Integrator and Calculator. The technology that it used were vacuum tubes. Now, vacuum tube is a kind, you can assume vacuum tube as a hollow tube in which there is a filament, just like the old bulb we used to have. Vacuum tube used to generate a lot of heat. So obviously the internal parts used to sometimes burn, the computer gives erroneous answer, wrong answer, it used to malfunction. It was very difficult also to maintain that computer, but still it was given a lot of importance because it was the very first computing devices of the time. Then came the UNIVAC, full form Universal Automatic Computer. Obviously, it is very advanced, very much advanced than the Mark 1 and ENIAC, and you can see it somehow is taking the shape of the computer that we are having right now. Not exactly the same shape, but it become much smaller than Mark 1 and ENIAC. And as they keep on advancing, the size of the computer started becoming smaller, the efficiency of the computer started increasing, and the handling of it become easier, the maintenance become easier, and computer started to become much more general purpose. So that is for today's students. You are advised to go through these topics in your book, go through the abbreviations that are discussed in the lesson today, and go through all of the inventions, how many of them were electrical, manual, mechanical, and thank you.